Okay, it's popping.
Hello, Grid, and welcome back to our construction series, specifically our construction estimate series. So this week we are talking about interior finishes and how to estimate that for either a completely new construction project, or if you're doing a flip project or a renovation on your home, what areas of the home you should be budgeting for, because it's easy to forget some of these, like the littler details, and they can really add up to your budget if you're not paying attention to them. So Raj, let's start with, because I always forget this. Always.
Yeah.
Any flip or renovation, it is the last thing on my mind. Interior doors. Like, unless they're really ugly or already broken,
Yes.
I just don't really think about them a lot. But what are like interior doors going for right now? Like, and there's a lot of different types.
Yeah, that's correct. So standard winter doors are about 80 inch high, right? 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
Then the standard it could be 30 inch, 32, 34, 36. 36 is egress. But I think interior door 34 is egress, means you have to have a minimum 34-inch wide door for the egress. So
Yeah.
in new construction, this is how it works. I think we have a separate topics for egress, because egress requirement for the basement or first floor and second floors are different.
Got it. So not
Correct.
exterior door egresses, but interior.
Interior. So what if people are inside the room, right? That means egress means there is a room or a space or path you create to escape
Yep.
in case of fire.
Yeah. So like from a basement upstairs to a main level or something like that.
Correct. Yes. So someone is says if you're on the main level, so you open the door, you get out from the front door or back door, right? That's how the egress path work. And if that's the case on the first floor, they think the code works that the door has to be at least 34-inch wide. Okay. So if you're in a bathroom, let's say you have a powder room, the powder room door has to be also 34.
Got it. Now, is that the same for ADA compliance? And when I say ADA, for those that are unfamiliar with that, Americans with Disabilities Act, so meaning that you could put a wheelchair through, or a walker, or have an assistant of someone helping mobility wise. Are those the same widths, or are those different widths?
It's a little different. I'm not an architect, but if I remember correctly, for ADA, your wheelchair, your clear depth has to be 32. Okay, clear. So for that, your door frame has to be at least, it has to be 36-inch door.
Got it.
Because you remember when you have a door, 36-inch door, but it's not the clear is not 36, because when you open the door, it doesn't go all the way, right? So they have so clear is usually less. So they call it, ADA is about 36 inch, then you have at least 32 to 34 inch clear. But the standard, like I said, in the first floor residential construction, for egress door, it has to be minimum of 34-inch wide, right? So those are, and now in new construction, if you have a 10-foot ceiling, we talked about this one before, which is a 10-foot ceiling mostly in this area. The doors are usually 8 foot, because if you have a 10-foot ceiling, your door is only 6'8", and I've seen it a lot, but to me it doesn't look nice, right?
Yeah.
So you probably have to do
the proportions are off.
Yeah, so the cost of 8-foot door is almost like sometimes, even you have to remember the door. There's a different style, right? It could be hollow core, it could be solid core. Solid is definitely more expensive.
Yeah.
And also design, it could be single panel, it could be 2-panel, 3-panel. Those costs does not really affect, but again, it's just that type of construction. If you have modern homes, craftsman style, so everything is a square panel, right? 2-panel, 3 panels, and all the new construction I do is we don't do hollow core; it's a solid core.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the main differences, because I have a lot of buyers that really focus on that sometimes, like you'd be surprised what people notice. One, the door feels a lot lighter with a hollow core, and the soundproofing is extraordinarily different. Like very, very different with between a solid door and a hollow core. So it'll be something that is noticed. Like in other episodes, we've talked about how like tangible touch of different materials that you use when you're constructing a property, the quality of it, you can feel. And when people are experiencing the home, doors and handles, like door handles, are definitely something that they're going to notice, right? They're going to touch those things every single day. So it may be one of those places that if you're building a home in McLean for $3 million, that's not really going to be a place that you want to cut costs on.
No,
But
definitely you have to do solid door.
But if you're doing a flip in, a neighborhood where the homes are between, say, even $500,000 and $600,000, which in Northern Virginia is very entry level, a hollow core door would be a very normal thing to see.
Yeah, that's very acceptable. I agree.
An upgrade in some cases.
That's very acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just this is a great example of something to keep in mind when designing whatever it is for the property and the price point in particular that you're designing. So yeah, I think that's a big difference with doors, and they can add up because you don't realize how many doors are in a house until you have to replace them all.
No, exactly. So one thing I also realized, because when you order interior doors, it could be just slab or pre-hung. So pre-hung means it comes with all the frames already in place. So you have to, sometimes you do only slab. When I do new construction, usually I have a slab so that I can have my 1x4 or 1x6 trimmed around it in a way it's sync with the overall design of the house, right? I don't want to just buy something pre-hung. So, but if you do renovation projects, maybe it's more, maybe more efficient and cost effective go pre-hung. So everything is there. You just have to install it, boom, 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 So usually those are the things you have to keep in mind when you do the doors and windows. Then I think talking about egress, when you go to the second floor, they really don't, the code really does not tell you anything about the doors for the egress. They call it for the windows. Window becomes your egress. Why? Because if you're on the second floor, think about it. If there's a fire break, you don't want to come down the stairs. You have to open the window. Somebody hopefully will rescue. So that's the whole idea. Usually for the basement and second floor, your egress are windows.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah, so those are the things you have to keep in mind with the minimum size. But for comfortable size, if the closets are usually at least like 28 inch wide, I do it at least, right? Closet. If your bathroom's at least 32 inch or 30 inch. The front door, you could be, the door to the bedrooms, it could be at least 32 inch to, I do a 32 inch,
So when doing a renovation with doors, interior doors in particular, is there any major difference that we should talk about or mention in this with pocket doors versus standard interior hung doors? Like, is there and imagine, let's say this, the walls are not up and it's not going to be that you have to tear something down in order to install it. Like you're starting from scratch. Is there a major cost difference in that case?
Yeah, it does. And I'm glad you asked, because to be honest with you, I hate interior, the pocket door, because the mechanism system is, if you stuck, how are we going to fix it? You have to open up the drywall. I really hate it. It's very time saving. It's space saving, to be honest with you, if you don't have a room to open the door. And also it looks neat. But for me, you have to, first of all, you have to have a metal frame inside for it, right? Then you install it. So in my mind, its cost is at least a double, double or 1.5, at least double, because you have to think about the frame system. You still need a slab, right? Doesn't matter. Yeah. So it's just the frame system is the one, the frame system at the door itself. And when you slide inside the wall, the pocket, the whole system also has to be, you have to usually buy it pre-piece, like, just for that type of door.
All the components, the track, all that.
Yeah. But again, it depends. But if you have it cost, exactly, you have to pay attention. And sometimes, it depends where you are. You can always check Home Depot or website. Home Depot price is very reasonable. Even though if you already have a builder account, for example, we buy a lot of stuff from Home Depot. Our price is completely different. Nobody knows. Because they also, for the builder, they have a different the ranking, so they have a silver, platinum is the top, so that you have to do. So platinum, to have the platinum membership, I think you have to have certain amount of the sale you have to do it in a year, things like that. But like I said, in real, if you're just a flip You might not have that much of volume account with the Home Depot, and for price comparison, you can always go to Home Depot and look at it. Look at the price. But
Yep.
yeah, those things are the one. Hollow core is solid core. It's not the double. It's not maybe I don't know 15, 20% or 30% more. Um, Sometimes one thing you have to remember: if you have a solid core, big door,
Mm-hmm.
it's a big slab. Then it's a solid wood. It may what do you call it? It may warp. You know what I'm saying? And especially in the front
Yeah.
door, I hate doing the solid wood because the front door, there are a lot of doors. Front door, you can find it very, artistic, nice wood. But problem,
Sure.
yeah, the problem is it's solid wood and it's exposed outside with, outside to the, temperature or either throughout the year. So your winter and summer and shrink and then expansion contractions, you might start seeing the issue like opening the door or maybe start seeing more gaps or maybe
Yeah.
even cracks. But and there's a way to do it anyway, so you may have to do certain protection to the wood. But usually the best way I like this thermal is very common doors.
Yeah.
Right, those are very common. They have so many different designs. Those are fiberglass. It looks nice. You can
Yep.
have a plain texture or you can have wood texture, anything you want.
Well, and they're not going to expand and contrast,
Yeah.
which really over the lifetime of the door is beneficial because it actually ruins the door a little bit. So like in the winter, we've just had freezing temperatures up until like a week or so ago, which was a little rare for here, but it's been very cold, right? So in that case, water can get trapped in the wood. It really can affect the doors. But in the summer, it's humid and it's 100 degrees here very regularly. So
Yes.
you really get the ends of the bell curve on that. And it could affect things like decks, which that's a whole separate thing, but like decking, that's non-composite decking, and doors and things like that. So any kind of exposed wood beams, things on porches, anything like that, all of that can get affected.
Yeah, the trellis. Yeah, exactly. There are some of the things. But now in the front door, I don't know if you've seen it. In the high luxury homes, you can have actually steel doors. I have installed
Yes.
few steel doors, really nice and fancy, very heavy, but still
Very
it's
heavy.
definitely very heavy, definitely. But you can have steel doors, so they're more durable. But again, there are options out there.
Yep.
All that will affect your house. But again, when you do a cost estimate, you can find out how many doors you have in the house, like interior doors, and just do like $200 per piece or $300 per piece, depending on which one you buy. And there are different brand available, right? So that's how I do usually calculate. So when I have my specific house, I say door windows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then for the windows, okay, this many windows. But again, if you have you can't say this many. If a 2x2 window versus 8x8 window, price is not the same, but you have to have a sense of the window price for different size. But at least for cost estimation purpose, you could find out, I have a 15 windows this size and 20 windows this size, and you could just do the math calculations, right? Depending on which brand you use. You could do the same thing for interior doors too. Yeah.
Well, that's good because like it's one of those things that you definitely have to check on, right?
Yeah.
So another like interior thing that affects both kitchens and bathrooms, which are some of the most expensive parts of the home to renovate or completely construct, are cabinets and countertops together. There are so many different types of cabinetry that range from extraordinarily cost effective to ornate and imported and very expensive. And same thing with countertops. There's a whole array of things. And we could probably mostly focus on stone countertops. I feel like that's become like a standard, at least it's stone. A lot of the non-stone countertops that used to be kind of popular in the 90s and even the early 2000s, I find that very rarely do I actually see homes with those now. Probably like 1 out of 20, maybe 1 out of 15. I mean, looking at homes that are resale that possibly need some renovation, it's even rare to find press board or laminate countertops or any kind like that in those homes even. It's very uncommon. So let's talk about the stuff that you should estimate when looking at your countertops. Let's talk about kitchens and bathrooms. Like, do you have any tips on how to save or what to look for when purchasing slabs, especially for, kitchen spaces?
Yeah, something we have to remember when somebody says as a builder to your homeowner, oh, yeah, I'm going to give you granite or quartz or stone. Um, that's not enough because there's a specification in the group. You have to remember there's a group one could be $30 per square feet to group four could be $150, $200 per square feet. So you have to
Yeah.
see it. Yeah, exactly. And nowadays, very popular is the quartz, but and the marble and granite. So difference you have to remember the granite is actually stone, so it's a texture. Even if you say the same granite, you might have a different texture because you're getting from different place. Because sample is stone is different. So that's something variance I always tell our client. Okay, this is what you are getting for this one, but may not be 100% same. So what we do is that first of all they go to our showroom, the vendor showroom, and they look at it. We'll give them, okay, this is the price, and this is what included with your price, right? Then okay, I like this granite, but then like I said, it may not be exactly the same. The vents and it could be different, right? That your textures could be different. Then usually we have a big slabs. You can go and pick. It depends how big it is. Big, I mean, usually nowadays, the custom homes we do or spec homes we do, there's a lot of granite and cabinets anyway. You have like 8-9 foot slab in countertops, in island, in other part, right? So you probably have to buy the whole slab.
Yeah.
And what I tell them,
you didn't.
yeah, exactly. So then if you have any remnant, you can use that in different places, other places in powder room or maybe sour bench, stuff like that, which we do.
Yeah, a bar, a coffee bar.
Yeah, you can reuse if you needed to. But then, like I said, the slab from this place to another place for the same could be different. So I tell them, I send them to a few places where we buy from. They go look at it, and when they like it, we just pay them and reserve, right? So make sure that we use it. But something always have to remember is which one, like different. It's not just a granite or quartz. There's different grouping. You have to see which one you're getting because price is a big difference. But one thing also I realized is that as a spec home builder or as a renovator flipper, it does not necessarily mean you pay expensive stone is better. We talked about this one before, like tiles. You don't have to spend like $5 per square feet tile to make it really amazing house. I've seen all these $3 million, $4-5 million homes we're doing in McLean. I mean, $2 per square feet tile from In Decor. Who knows? You just have to know which. You just need to know pick right. With the overall design, and really don't have to spend. I don't even go to architectural stones because they are like $10-$20 per square feet. I do that if there's a homeowner. I'm building a house for a homeowner and they have a budget. But for the spec homes, we don't even go there. I'm just being honest. I don't think anybody goes. There's so many very cost-effective options out there. Sorry, go ahead, Danielle. Yeah.
Oh well, and there's also a lot of ways to use cost-effective tiles, like subway tile, right? In any color. Yeah. There's a lot of variety of them, different sizes, different shapes, right? Different parameters. You get everything from square to rectangle to really long rectangles. Like there's lots of different variety there. Different grouting techniques, but also different installation. So people are installing these inexpensive tiles in more slightly expensive designs, like herringbone patterns that look very high end, but you didn't spend a lot on the material. You'll spend a little more on the labor, but it really looks very high end. And overall, it probably would save you a lot more than if you got tiles like shipped in from Italy. They even have subway tile in glass, glass subway tile. So many.
Yeah. So like you said, you really don't have to spend a lot of money on it, but it's like design, right? The pattern. You come up with those designs and the same, not too expensive tiles could look very nice in your house. So those are the things that I think is very important to have your designer or have a consultation with a designer who has experienced this type of project. But those are the things we do it again overall. Now subway tile is coming back. It used to be not now. It's black and white these days. So subway, you can see subway tiles everywhere now. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's good. But like then the thing is, I always go to Florida Decor and I talk to Florida Decor.
Oh, I think you froze. Oh no, Raj, I think you froze it. We can't hear you.
Internet. I don't know what happened.
You're back.
I think
You're
we
back.
just
Okay,
now
so
it
you
looks
go
like
to
we're back.
Florida Decor.
You're good, right? We're good.
Yep. The last thing I heard was that you go to Floor and Decor and then you ask them ...
Yeah. So if you buy a lot of tiles, Florida Decor is a perfect place because you have a big, showroom. You have so many samples. Even some of the tiles, it's like I've seen, 4x6, big tiles. So
Wow.
you really don't have to spend a lot of money on the granite or quartz. You can have a big tile slabs. You can use it in different places. I have used it in a couple of houses for the what do you call it again? The fireplace backsplash. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing smaller stone or instead of tiles, I did those, porcelain tiles white. It looks really nice. You don't have to because if you have to do a quartz, you have to go thin one. Maybe you have to spend $5,000 for it.
Yeah.
Now in $1,000, I have everything ready. So there are a lot of options out there. And the main thing is, as a builder, I build that relationship with the right people in the right place. It's Florida Decor, for example. We build a relation um, with the manager. So we work with her directly, and she knows how we work, and she's already updating Raj. Hey, this is what is coming now. This is the demand. I ask, hey, how are the builders are building? Which styles are the most of the builder picking from your store? That's very inside, good inside. You can get it from them without going to or visiting other builders open house.
Yep.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
that's what I was thinking. Tiles. Again, it could be $2 per square feet. It could be $20 per square feet. But most of the house, when I work, I have a allowance for it. Let's say labor is maybe, I don't know, $15,000. That's installation. Maybe tiles is $5,000, $10,000. So usually, once you have an allowance, be realistic so that you don't do 5,000 allowance and you go and pick $20 per square feet tiles. It's not going to be enough, just even for one bathroom. But just
I mean, it could go off the rails pretty quickly.
yeah, you could. So I think those are the things you can pay attention. So especially, like I say, working with this.
Oh no, we're losing you again.
I don't know what happened again. I think we're back again. I
We
may have
can't
to
do
run
the rain
quickly.
outside. It's raining today.
Yeah, I think I may.
But yep. So one other place that, like, little details that start adding up, and these are very finishing details for the whole home, but where the cost can start adding up quickly and people don't really realize what things cost very frequently, are in light fixtures, plumbing fixtures, so like faucets, things like that, shower handles, and appliances. So appliances, again, full range of costs, where you could get some appliances for as little as a couple $100 if that's an appropriate price point. But then there's also like $20,000 or $25,000 designer stoves from Italy, and like there's crazy stuff like that. All of it is very dependent on your client, and having upfront conversations on how much would you be interested in spending on these specific items is a very big deal, right? So I'm currently doing a flip on a condo in Crystal City. And in that condo, what we're going to be able to sell it for afterwards is around the 700,000 mark. We're being very conscious of what other homes have and whatever properties in this particular building have sold and what kind of appliances they had. And the reason for that is it's a little bit of a conundrum, right? Because you think condo is like an entry-level property, or sometimes people assume that. It's not always. But the price point would dictate a certain, especially for the square footage, a certain type of level of quality of the appliances.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to think about and consider. as well as when you're in a quicker flip project, you also have to go with what is available. Do I have 2 months to wait for a fridge? Sometimes the answer is no on that. But do you have any suggestions or tips and tricks about appliances, faucets, finishes, like any of that, ordering those, where to find them?
You have to work with the vendors. Now, if you do one or two, it's not much. You can go to Best Buy, Home Depot, buy directly. But when we do multiple projects at a time, doesn't matter you are doing flip or you're doing new construction, you have to have a relation with the vendor. So we have a big vendors, 2 or 3 we work with, and we're constantly communicating with them and what's going, especially now. Some of the appliances can take 10 months or 1 year. And I can't wait, right? Maybe I can. It depends the project. Some of them, I'll give you in our area. Very common high end is a Thermador. No, Viking. Yeah, Thermador, right? Wolf, Sub-Zero. Those are very common, very common for high end area. But then Viking is taking 90 days to 120 days. That's okay. But some of them, Wolf is they are telling me 6 to 9 months. So again, you know what I'm saying? So before you do it, these are all comparable to me. You can go Viking or Wolf, or you can go a Thermador. But again, before that, please communicate with your vendor. That could be very good resource for you to understand your budget and also your project timeline, because you finish the project now. You cannot complete because appliances are not in. That would suck. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And that prevents you from getting a C of O. Same thing with faucets and fixtures. All of those systems need to be tested on new construction. They have to all be tested in order to get a C of O. So if you can't put a sink in and turn it on, there's a problem. Same thing with the refrigerator. It actually will cause your client to delay in possibly closing or finishing out their loan or moving in. All of that costs money. So being ahead of the game on selection of any of those things is probably the best tip we have right now. And also making sure that you budget for them. You can find very budget-friendly, great-looking faucets, fixtures. I found an amazing amount of things on Amazon, believe it or not. Very good quality with all of the components and parts that you need for sometimes a third of the price, a half of the price of what I've seen, and all in the styles that people are looking for, especially like black, iron finishes, matte finishes. I've seen a lot of that. So that kind of touches base on anything interior wise for this week. Next week, we are going to talk about other costs of the construction project. How do you estimate things like architectural costs and engineering costs, permitting costs, tree removal, site preparation, all different things like that. So stay tuned next week for that. And we're excited I think that is our last part of our construction estimate series. So if there's anything else that you want us to estimate or discuss in what you should be estimating, just leave it in the comments, and then Raj and I can get back to you and add even maybe another episode if needed.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, have a great day and see you next week.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Danielle.